Horror movies are renowned for being a little bit weird, or a lot weird in most cases when it comes to fighting off demonic refrigerators, subduing cannibalistic clowns, or going head to head with killer rabbits. But it's exactly that type of obscurity that makes the genre so great. Collecting together the best movies unrecognised for their bloody efforts, cast aside for their shaky cam, or just not talked about quite enough. These are films that have been overlooked throughout the years since their release, relegated to midnight showings and cult audiences willing to give them the time of day. Or night. There's something for everyone if you're willing to go rooting around the debris of the world of horror for long enough. Just wear some rubber gloves for God's sake, you really don't know where they've been. With that in mind, I'm Ash from What Culture, and these are 10 underrated horror movies you need to see. 10. As Above, So Below. Set deep underground in the catacombs of Paris, As Above, So Below capitalises on its creepy setting at every given opportunity, surrounding its characters with over 6 million people's remains in claustrophobic, dark tunnel systems. With alchemy scholar Scarlet searching for the real-life philosopher's stone amongst the corpses, her research team soon discovers more lurking in the darkness than magic rocks. Really though, you can't feel sorry for her. She should have known better since Dumbledore destroyed the thing 13 years ago. Mixing together demonic hallucinations and a naturally terrifying setting, the film is a great example of found footage functioning as it should. Whilst it suffers in part from cliched writing, the underlying metaphor for hell and a reflected reality that neatly references its title is a truly frightening world to immerse yourself into, rendering the film underrated and subsequently ignored since its 2014 release. 9. Splinter. This grotty little body horror lives up to its namesake, getting uncomfortably under your skin with an infectious disease that makes herpes look like a common cold. Arising mysteriously amongst animals in the woods, black spines start appearing that take control of a host, utilising living organisms as both a food source and a weapon. A young couple on a romantic camping trip and a pair of criminals soon find this out the hard way, after getting stranded at a petrol station inhabited by the mysterious pointy goo. Never taking itself too seriously and peppered with genuinely disgusting moments as well as campy free-roaming body parts, Splinter is one of those ridiculous movies that is as much fun to watch as it is a bit sickening. Just don't go poking around any roadkill in your spare time and I think you'll be fine. It's too late for Jules though. 8. Troll Hunter. A dark fantasy found footage movie packed full of ginormous trolls. There's really no reason not to love it. Following a group of student filmmakers investigating illegal poaching, it seems there's more than lions, tigers and bears in the Norwegian wilderness when they meet a specialist hunter, hired by a secretive government agency. Featuring a hilariously nonchalant official who just wants to do his job, juxtaposed with bizarre, imposing, impossible creatures bumbling about in the open wilderness, Troll Hunter cleverly walks a line between scary and fascinating with each troll that crashes across the screen, before collapsing into stone in the morning light. 7. Under the Shadow. A festival favourite and packed full of cultural commentary, Under the Shadow is a perfect example of slow-burning, dread-building horror that is dominating the genre in recent years. In the same way it follows, The Babadook and The Witch draw out their understated narratives to reach wildly terrifying endings, this Iranian exercise in terror makes you wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it, until you really can't take it anymore and even the sight of a sheet is enough to push you over the edge. This ain't no friendly IKEA fabric ghost either. Set in war-torn 1980s Tehran, an unexploded missile lands on Mother Shida's apartment building, bringing about fears that something worse than the explosion has followed the weapon inside. With talk of jinns and supernatural entities spooking the residents and the threat of bombing forcing families to leave their homes, Shida must figure out how to protect her daughter from both war and a deeper evil. Woo! 6. Creep. With its sequel proving a cult hit after being released on Netflix last year, it's easy to forget about the first Creep film that sparked it all off. Hiring a freelance cameraman named Aaron, the eccentric Joseph wants him to make videos for his unborn son, as Joseph himself claims to be suffering from a terminal illness. With the pair taken on an uncomfortable journey of self-expression led by Joseph's unhinged desire to be captured on film being, well, weird, the film slowly unfolds to reveal his true purpose with the naive Aaron. And it isn't a nice home video. If you ever needed any more reasons to not respond to internet adverts, then this film is it. Just remember they're never going to give you as much money as they say for pictures of your feet. I learned the hard way. 5. Kill List. Ben Wheatley's nasty hitman horror movie Kill List is a descent into darkness that's well worth a watch. Following a hired assassin that's taken on the role after a stint in the military, he accepts a job to kill 3 people for a huge payoff 1 year after a botched job. The relatively easy contract soon sends him on a downward spiral, with an amoral past coming to surface and blight his also probably quite amoral future. Warping from a crime thriller into a visceral horror movie, the genre-melding magic of Kill List lies in its ability to move slowly through its narrative, drawing us in and making us wait as events purposefully unfold on screen. 4. Session 9. Heck, asbestos removal isn't the most glamorous of jobs, or scary since we're talking about horror movies here. A film about it would surely neither be glamorous or frightening, but Session 9 manages to make it work somehow. It probably helps we're talking about asbestos lining an abandoned mental asylum then, after all. Tasked with clearing out the place as quickly as possible, Gordon and his team of workers discover a set of tapes from sessions with one of the previous patients at the hospital. Failing financially but earning its stripes as a cult movie in the decade since its release, Session 9 is definitely a movie following a well-trodden path, but carves out its own spooky niche in the process. 3. Inside. Inside's narrative follows a young pregnant woman spending Christmas Eve alone, or at least so she believes, until an unhinged visitor enters with the intention of stealing her unborn child. Talk about rude. In the same way The Strangers and You're Next inspired a true discomfort with being home alone, Inside takes it one step further, with the mysterious woman constantly outsmarting or brutally murdering any potential saviours as they enter the house. It does sound like a family Christmas dinner now, doesn't it? It's gritty, intense, and absolutely drenched in gore. Most of all, however, it's a testament to how right Mean Girls was. Don't have sex or you will get pregnant and you will die. The evidence is impossible to ignore. 2. Oculus. Directed by the same man behind Hush, Gerald's Game, and Absentia, it's no surprise that Mike Flanagan released a corker of a horror film that hasn't had nearly enough recognition. Starring everyone's favourite Doctor Who companion Karen Gillan, going head-to-head with an evil mirror she believes cursed her family, the film's premise is set when she decides to prove once and for all the truth behind the ornate mirror with her traumatised brother. Constantly shifting between hallucinatory sequences and 2 interwoven timelines, the film is a trip down memory lane that's best forgotten for its protagonists. Taut, bleak and untrustworthy at every turn, it's a wonderfully dark tale of an evil influence that can't be understood. Never mind stopped. Woo! 1. Pontypool. Unfortunately not based on the Welsh town of the same name, but some small town in Canada, Pontypool is about a radio station under attack from a zombie-like disease spreading on the outside. Set almost entirely in the studio, it's an original take on a tired trope, transforming the usual transmission via blood or saliva into a virus that has wormed its way into the very language we speak. With no real idea of which word will spark a reaction within which person, those trapped inside the radio station must try to figure out the best way to combat the disease without succumbing to it themselves through conversation. A low-budget horror with a unique premise and a setting across very little space, it slipped through the cracks of the zombie horde movie craze at the time of release, but it's interesting enough to have remained long after.